record this as well and I'll upload this to YouTube later. So yeah, so this was a VOD of the game you played. Now, one of the main things in your game that I am noticing that is really making you struggle is actually your camera control. Like, it sounds simple, but like it's very, very difficult to play somebody like MF playing with a camera like you are. I mean, it's difficult to play most champions. Now, you've got so even here, for example, like as soon as you see this here, you instantly go on it, like, because she's just griefing.
Yeah.
So right, so you got a flash. Now, if we look here, okay, so we're farming the minion wave right now. What is Jinx doing?
She's way back behind the minion wave.
Is she?
Well, I don't even know where Jinx is at.
Yeah, I mean, she is back there.
Yeah, okay, I see her down there on the map.
Yeah, but we can't see her.
Yeah.
Now, what is important about this area?
Nothing.
Exactly. There we go. You actually got the trick question. Okay, perfect. Yeah, there's absolutely nothing of interest back here. So there's no point in having your camera up here. Instead, you want to... So one thing, like an analogy I like to use sometimes is, have you ever played chess?
Yes.
When you play chess, what do you move?
The pieces.
Exactly. You move the pieces, not the board, right?
Oh, true, yeah.
Whereas right now, you're moving the entire board instead of your piece. So imagine if you had to move the board for every single move in chess. How much harder that would make playing chess. It's the exact same kind of situation here. Like, a lot of the things that you want to achieve in your lane are so difficult to do because you can't even see what's happening. Not properly, anyway. And this becomes apparent multiple times throughout the game. And it's also more distracting as well, right? Because, like, your mouse is going to be moving and it makes everything so much harder. It's like here, right, as well. So
it's
what...
Just,
Uh-huh.
I learned the game with a locked screen, so I've unlocked it at this point, but I still have my finger or my thumb on the space bar half the game because I'm so used to it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That means you haven't actually learned how to play it unlocked. You've set yourself up to be able to learn how to play unlocked, but then your heavy thumb is basically meaning that you're basically still playing unlocked camera, except now you're doing more because you're holding down spacebar. So learning how to have your camera over the areas where you need it and how to nudge the screen and stuff like that is really, really important. So that's probably going to be one of the biggest things to work on, to be fair. But even like here, so what do you think the problem is in this situation?
Well, I can't see Deluxe.
Okay, so in terms of the actual gameplay, what do you think is a problem here? So I'll play and say...
Stepping too far forward, maybe?
Yeah, I'll play, say, 5 seconds. Now, what do you think was a really big thing that you missed out on there?
Letting Jinx come up and farm.
Exactly. Now, what do you notice about Jinx? In this section here, what do you notice about her?
He has only 2 minions to my whole wave. Well,
So the thing...
There's 2 minions.
So the thing with Jinx here is she was stood here. She walked directly forward and autoed this. Now, how do we know where Jinx is clicking?
She's probably just clicking on the minion to walk straight up there.
Okay, how do we know that? What's a good indicator of the champion that tells us that?
Because she's just walking in a straight line.
Yeah. So it's to do with her face. Now, when you're trying to predict what your laner's trying to do and you want to see kind of what they're looking for in the lane, their face is always a telltale sign of what they're actually doing. So if we look right here, we see that she walks directly forward in a straight line and then hits it. That means from here to here, she's only put 1 click in. She's only clicked once. So these are the things that we need to be looking out for because we need to be guarding these minions. Now, the game kind of changes in terms of how you think about it when you kind of start putting together what each thing in the game does, right? So you've got the melee minions, who are basically like a little tank. You've got the caster minions. Well, so they're a tank because they don't do much damage, but they have a lot of HP. Then you have the caster minions that are the opposite. They're kind of like the little ADCs. They don't have as much HP, but they do way more damage. So those are the pieces. Now, on top of that, you're here to do what? Well, what's your champion's purpose in League of Legends?
I'm trying to group with my Vigar, but
No, I mean, at a basic level, what do you need to do to win
so
a game?
should I stand to get to the other Nexus?
Yeah, exactly. It's kill a Nexus. Now, what do we need to do to get to the Nexus? What do we need to take there?
Towers, minions.
Minions. So now if you start thinking of it as you're here as like a guardian for the minions to escort them to the Nexus. So the minions aren't there for you, you're there for them, okay? So if we take this into consideration, this minion is super low and you don't have a minion to kill. Now, what you do around your minions dying is just as, if not more important than what you do around the enemy's minions. You know? So right here, it's like, oh, my minion's about to die to the Jinx. I need to punish her for that. Like, I can't let her kill one of my minions for no reason. You know? So when you start thinking more like that, you'll start putting yourself in situations where you're like, well, I don't need to auto-attack anything right now, but she does, so I may as well kill her. And then we take that more advanced eventually where we go, okay, well, we're both going to end up autoing at the same time, so I'm going to get an auto-win before that, so that mine drops lower before hers, and then I can hit it. You know, so you're making these kind of opportunities where you can punish her or get damage off, which when you're playing MF, due to your passive, if you can even get one auto on her, that's a ridiculous amount of damage. Huge amount of damage. Like, especially for one auto. Yeah. Like, that's so much damage for a short trade. Like, it's insane. So, then you do that on multiple minions, and all of a sudden they're too low to do anything. They can't fight you back, because they'll just die. They can't really push the waves out, because they don't really have the wave clear. Jinx will use all their mana.
Lux either.
What's that,
Lux is
sorry?
way back here, so she's stepping forward and then Lux is on the other side.
Exactly, and this will happen all the time. But this is one of the big things with ADC. Like, it's very easy to be like, oh, I've got a really shit support. But when you actually realize what you're doing wrong, you then realize that the support doesn't really matter in most situations. So, yeah, so this is kind of just one way to kind of, like, rewire the way you view the game a little bit. Because I know as soon as I started doing that, things became so much more clear. And your logical guesses become more accurate. Because you've got more variables.
Just let her have that. Yeah.
Yeah. We didn't do anything about it.
No. What do we do about the Lux stepping up? Just
So, I mean, so what should you have done here?
auto the Lux when she stepped forward to E my Vigar.
Yeah, so we can actually go on them quite aggressively here. Because Lux only has one ability. We're level 1. So she's just used her E. But look what we do. Do you see?
Yeah, I just walked towards.
Yeah, we just float about and we don't really do anything. Where she doesn't have an ability right now. Jinx does, but that's her Q. Doesn't really do anything. So we could have actually just gone on them here. Veigar will have Cage as well, so that could have been a point where we could go aggressive. Which we did a little bit, but if we would have gone a bit sooner.
It would have been, yeah.
Yeah. Now, next up, what do you think the problem is here? So after we get this trade, which is good, what do you think the problem is here?
I stepped back when my Vigar was stepping forward.
I mean, yeah, but how do we know what Veigar's doing right now?
I can't see because of screen.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So these are the kind of it will seem like I'm droning on about some points sometimes, but honestly, one of the things I've learned about coaching kind of these lower elos is you just have to get all of these basics sorted, like your camera control, learn what your champion does, last hit better, and then you'll just climb. It is pretty simple when you set yourself up properly. Now, in a second, we're going to get another instance of a quite big mistake. So, what's the mistake?
I clicked the W.
Yeah. So, how many fingers do you play with on the keyboard? Where's your pinky finger?
On the Q.
On the Q, okay. So, if you hover your hand over your QWER right now, if it's comfortable. Now, if you look where control is. It'll be kind of at the kind of base of your pinky finger, right?
Yeah.
So what I found is useful when you're trying to learn how to do that is when you want to level up, just put down a little bit of pressure on the side of your hand to push down that control button. And then just click QWERR.
Yeah.
You get what I mean?
Yeah, I get you.
Like, your finger does end up coming a little bit extended from the R, but you can move it and it's completely fine. You could still access that. So, yeah, try using that. It's a killer. Because, like, even in, like, these situations, right? We've just ticked level 2, but Lux hasn't got level 2 yet. So what we could have been looking to do is as soon as we get level 2, we just instant level up and run into them.
Yeah. Okay.
Because what we want to be doing is we want to be clicking into them because we're level 2. So we want to be walking this way. But if our cursor is down here, down here leveling up, then we have to go like this instead of just like this. If that makes sense?
Yeah.
And you have to be like super quick and super accurate for no real reason. There's no benefit to doing it like that. So yeah, so that's another one of the kind of overall big kind of fun, like basic kind of things in terms of how you actually play the game that will actually help you a lot if you just focus on that a little bit. So we will.
And then this is where I missed the. Oh, I think I did. I not get it? No, I didn't get it.
This is where we didn't get the Dark Harvest stack, yeah.
Yeah.
So here as well, we need to be more aggressive. Now, one of the big things you can do on MF is instead of just queuing them directly, if you can bounce it off a minion, it'll crit. So, so you don't really want it to directly.
What, the minion under the mouse?
Yeah, pretty much. So as she was walking back, you queue this one. So yeah, and by doing that, it gives. Let me just triple check for you. Yeah, if it bounces behind, it applies on-hit effects at 100% effectiveness to both of them. And then the double up, I'll just show you. There we go. It's easy to say. See, and then double up bounce is affected by crit strike modifiers. If it kills its primary target, the bounce is guaranteed to critically strike.
Oh, okay.
So if you last hit a minion with your Q, and that hits them behind, it will crit every single time. And this is why MF is one of the strongest laners in terms of ADs in these evos. Because she's just so oppressive in lane that, you know, they can't really do much. So yeah, so this is something you should focus way more because we didn't do it all, and I noticed as you were queuing here. So yeah, so it's a huge part to MS kit. It is a little bit awkward to kind of hit, but it's very, very strong. It is one of the kind of common overlooked things. Yeah, we did. So our farming on the tower was a little bit off.
Yeah, I either do really well or I mess it up.
Yeah, so we were just slow. That was it.
Oh yeah, I just should have auto.
So one thing when you're autoing on the tower to pay most attention to is the actual tower. Because when you actually see it come out, if it's coming out and the minion is low, you should always just hit it then. Now, there is like an extra tier to this as well, where if, say, for example, a shot is going to guarantee to kill it, you wait for the shot to come out and then kill it. But overall, we'll keep it simple. Just as soon as a shot comes out, we auto it if it's low. It'll just make it a little bit easier. Okay, so again, kind of a little bit off with the camera, but
yeah.
So this is better, see, because we actually see where they come from, but we can still farm, and look how much calmer the screen looks, because everything's not moving about.
Yeah.
So flash probably wasn't worth there, to be honest.
No,
But
it wasn't. I thought that the Vigar wasn't going to be able to get his damage off.
yeah.
I thought I was going to get the kill. I was flashing for the kill.
Yeah. So in general, like when you're playing in a mobile ADC like MF, your flash is so valuable. It's unreal. So yeah, here as well, you just want to get it pushed in. She's just died. We've got enough for a serrated Dirk. So we just push, push, push. Use everything on the wave recall. Like, so one of the things to not do here is never completely screw your lane up for the jungler if you don't need to. So right here, like this Yi, there's no, like Yi can solo Dragon. Like he doesn't really need you there. And you've got a huge recall timer because we've just pushed such a huge wave into that tower. So this is fine. We come down. Now, again, here, this is kind of a situation. We have a serrated Dirk. Now, serrated Dirk is one of the most powerful early power spikes that you can get on any champion. Because it gives lethality. Lethality is more effective at lower levels. So the earlier you get lethality, the more it'll do. Because they won't have actually built resistances. Now, lethality is a flat penetration. So it means that as soon as they start building some cloth armors, you know, maybe mid goes into seekers, you know, things like that, or say the tank starts getting bramble vest, you're going to be in a situation there where your lethality isn't as effective as it was, but it's still okay. So early into the game here, they're not going to have resistances, they're not going to have any kind of armor, so it's just very valuable. But here you have to use that lead. So it's like right now you are stronger than them. So what's another sign on the screen that you are 100% stronger?
I'm on a level up.
Yeah, exactly. You're, let's say, 550 gold up in base stats, and you've got a serrated Dirk, which is a huge spike. So right here, you should be just going crazy on them. You should be going super aggressive. Like your E down, walk up, Q to bounce off a minion, hit them. Like, just go all out. So here's here as well. Q for a minion here, and we don't use it, and then we just get normal hit, which gets entirely shielded. So,
yep.
Okay, so again, kind of here, we're just not really using our Qs. But I think this is the point where I actually told you to go more aggressive. But again, see, we've locked cams, so now we can't actually see them for if they're walking up. Like every single micro movement they make is something. Even if Jinx walks from here to here, that could be a sign that we should go. Or if, say, for example, she does what she did earlier, she's here, all of a sudden she right-clicks a minion and starts walking in a straight line, you can just go on her directly because you know she's clicked here. So it's like looking out for these opportunities are really, really big. If you can nail laning, like, you'll climb super hard on MF. Like, honestly, it's insane. Like, gold easily. I'm not even kidding. If you can just perfect CSing and being aggressive in lane on MF, easy to do. Because the thing is, MF is a bit unique to other champions in the fact that later into the game, most mobile ADCs end up in this situation where they can't really walk up because they'll just get jumped on by somebody, and there is times where you can't really do damage with auto attacks because, again, if you walk up, you get one shot. It's kind of the reason why we went with Dark Harvest as well. Now, I think Dark Harvest in low elos is very good, purely because if you learn how to use it properly, you can get so many stacks on it, and it just snowballs out of control. Like, even if you don't use it properly and you just get kills, you're going to get like 2 Dark Harvest stacks per double kill. So you end up with a lot really, really fast. Now, another thing with this, obviously, is later on into the game, MF is unique in the fact that she still has her ultimate, which is a huge range ability. So she doesn't have to walk up because she can just do an ult. And, you know, like, she's fine. Like, they'll be all the way back here. So, in general, like, she's not as susceptible late game, but, you know, you still want to build the lethality for the kind of really aggressive early game. Obviously, if you can walk up and auto them, then you will do more damage with kind of precision rune, but it's a lot riskier and it's a lot harder to actually execute. It's same with champs like Sivir. But yeah, see, again here, she has a Dark Harvest stack, and we're just allowing it to go. So see, all we have to do is we don't even have to last hit a minion there. We just need to get a Q to hit her so we get the stack. So as soon as she walks up to a minion, quick Q on this minion. We get it. Yeah, we get that Dark Harvest stack, and that's good. We just gain something out of the lane because she's made a mistake of walking up too far. And then here, this is kind of one of them situations where we're very low. Now, what you could have done here is just backed away and just ulted the wave and just recalled.
Yeah.
Right, don't worry too much about ulting the wave. But, again, what do you think is a really big problem right now?
That I just got hit with the W. I knew she got 6, and I should have not stepped up.
Okay.
Because I got hit by this W.
Yeah.
And then I just move into a tower where I can't move to the left at all to dodge the ult.
Yeah. Now, why do you think you got hit by this?
Because I was still there.
I mean, obviously it's very easy to go, oh, you know, your position wasn't right here, like you weren't positioned properly and then you got hit by it. But that's not what the problem is here. Well, what do you think the actual problem is here? How much time did you have to react to this Jinx W?
Probably like 2 seconds.
2 seconds? No, nowhere near. Like, less. So right here, so we had about 1 second. Not even that. So here, pop. Okay. Barely any time.
I stepped to the left first and then...
Yeah, but how do we even know she was using it? We could have... we could have had information way earlier that she was using it. But we don't. And why don't we?
Because I have my camera locked.
Exactly. I mean, I don't want to I don't want to harp onto it too much, but I just want to make sure that we do realize how many things we're losing in terms of how many times we're given advantages just because we don't actually know what's happening. Like it's like we're trying to teach somebody how to cross the road, but they've got a blindfold on. So it's kind of like maybe they cross the road properly, maybe they don't. Maybe they're going to spend 4 seasons trying to cross the road and never really progress anywhere. But then that's if they take the blindfold off, they instantly climb. You know?
Yeah.
The crossing the street meta is, you know. So yeah, so here, one of the big things is we just walk too close. Like your ultimate isn't meant to be used close range. I mean, it can be, and it can be great close range, but as we can see, it's thinner here. So if we're close to them, when we use it, it's much easier for them to just go up or like this. Whereas if it's in this big part, like say if she's smack bang here, it's going to take her so long to get to either side. So what we should have looked to do here actually is just walk up, use our E, and then instantly ult. Instantly. Okay. And then that would have guaranteed to kill her. Like I would put money on it. Because Veigar still had ult as well. Yeah, there we go. There's the ult. He only got that because you proc Dark Harvest, to be fair, but yeah, so she flashed there as well, right? Yeah, it was just really bad flash. So she also flashed, which is also good for you. Now, since she's flashed, what should that be telling you?
That she won't have it for the next fight.
Okay. So
I should probably ping it so that my team knows.
Yeah, so what do you wait for? So if you fight her straight away, okay, maybe you kill, but it's a bit of a risk. What do you have that will guarantee that you get that kill now that she doesn't have flash?
Flash?
I mean, your ultimate.
I will have it. Oh, ultimate.
Right, so your ultimate's now up in 1 minute 46.
Oh,
so now, yeah, so now she has got flash. So if we manage to land an E and then an ult, and Lux doesn't have Q, Jinx is guaranteed dead. So what we now look to do is we just get this wave crashed, we get it into a good position so it'll bounce back into us. We can even reset here, so this was a little bit into what we did here. So we kind of walked up for no real reason, and then we walked back down for no real reason, and then we're back here like we did nothing. So there, we just pushed a big wave in, just recall. Like, you can still afford, even if you just get a longsword, it's still more damage. Like, more damage is never a bad thing. So use your time properly to reset there. And now, so we're in this, so now we have the wave here, which is really good for us. Again, we need to get kind of hit by a lot.
Yeah.
But either way, so now we have our E, we have our ultimate, and she's got no flash, and we don't really do that much here. So here we found this is great. Okay, nice. So now we need to literally just be looking out for Lux to throw a Q. Well, and we can actually bait that as well. I do it all the time. Just walk past your minions and just taunt her. Just kind of mess about with her a bit. But they get massively caught out. Again, see, we walk a little bit too far forward when we ult there. Yeah, just a tad.
Locked in, they can't walk past
Yeah,
anyway.
yeah, exactly. There's no way they can. Yeah, so we just do this and they just die.
Yeah, I don't know why I stepped forward again.
Yeah, I mean, it's fine. I mean, the thing is, the fact that you're now noticing these things is a really good thing. Because now when you're actually playing, you're going to be, oh, wait, why am I walking up this far? And now you're like, okay, I shouldn't. And then you'll walk back, and then you'll be like, okay, you know. So these things now they're kind of things that you will be actively trying to avoid while you're in the game. And another thing that I heavily recommend is, do you have sticky notes anywhere?
I do not.
Okay, purchase some sticky notes. They will literally improve your life massively. And what you do, obviously I'll upload this to YouTube later, but what you can even do is watch back through the video and just kind of note down some things that we've covered. So like your positioning, like your aggression in lane, doubling up on your Qs, stuff like that, and then put it on sticky notes and stick them around your monitor. And then obviously so it's not obstructive, but then what you can do is as you're playing, you will be actively looking at them without even realizing. Even if you're not reading them, your brain is still reading them, if that makes sense. Yeah. Then you're like, oh, I've been seeing this all day. Oh, I need to just keep doing this more, you know? It's just a really easy way to like visualize the issues that you're having and how to improve on said issues. So why do you think in this moment here we could take a plate, whereas previously we couldn't? Well, why do you think?
Well, Vi's dead. I thought we saw Jinx mid, if I remember correctly. Or not Jinx, it was Lux mid or something.
Yeah, okay. But what is it about the minions that allow you to get a plate here where you couldn't before?
Well, they crashed under a tower, ish.
Yeah, but there's a cannon.
Yeah.
So a cannon will tank the tower for long enough that you can get one plate and then still push the next wave in. And your wave won't get doomed. If you've got no cannon and you try and get a plate, the wave is basically going to be dead by the time you've got that plate. And now the wave is almost reset or slow pushing into you, and it's going to crash into you, bounce back into them, and they can freeze it. So it's one of them things with ADC that it's very common, and it will completely screw you. So like here, for example, we can't get a plate because we're just pushing this wave in so we can reset. You know? Even though it's tempting because we are, 200 gold away, like, it's not worth the risk because, like, they could just come kill us or we'll lose momentum or... So, yeah, steel caps are fine. Purely for the fact that we are against a Jinx, who is pretty strong. She's got 5 tower plates. So she is fairly strong. And, like, Lucidity boots are okay, but... I think you prefer the extra resistances, to be honest. And early cloth is actually good too. Plus, MF doesn't really value attack speed as much as other carries, especially when you're running Dark Harvest.
Yeah.
Okay, so now the laning phase is over. So obviously there was a lot of things to go over from there, but... So now we'll move on to this kind of like mid to late game. Now, why do you think we have to go and get the Gromp here?
Well, we can't do anything bot anymore.
Yeah.
I think we need just a little bit more gold for my item.
Yeah, we need 1,000 gold.
We need, 100. Yeah.
So because of that,
Yeah.
so because of that, you just go and take the grump. If your jungler doesn't like it, whatever, you're like, it's. I mean, I thought he was going to path into the Herald, but he came to this. So as he came to this, we can leave it because he wants it, but otherwise we'd clear it, and that actually helps him as well in a lot of situations. Prowler's Claw 2, the active, you can jump to enemy minions. It has lethality as a mythic, so you gain a massive amount of lethality, so yeah, here, this was kind of wasteful coming to this because you need to push bot out anyway. There's a huge wave.
I thought that going there, I was too late to the
No.
fight.
Like, Herald, especially after 14 minutes, is so unbelievably useless. It's absolute garbage. Like, so after 14 minutes, when those plates fall, it's just not worth it, you know? It's a bit yuck. So we focus bot without. Now, you always want to get bot pushing out fully. Now, why is this? Why do you think we want to get these minions pushing as close into their tower as possible?
So people have to be at bot turret to catch that wave?
Yeah, which means we get vision of them, which means we know that we've got an advantage on the objective. Which, you know, that information is invaluable. But we have to make sure we push it fully. Otherwise, it's not going to do the desired effect, you know. It also stops them from just pushing. So if, say, for example, they go, okay, or let's say Baron, for example, because it's just easier. Say they start Baron, but you have a oh, sorry, other way around, sorry. So say they start Baron, but you have a minion wave, like here. Like, what's to stop you just going with that minion wave and just pushing the towers and the inhib, and then they have to use Baron to defend this inhib, so they get barely anything off it, you know?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like prio, and just knowing when to go for objectives is really good. You don't have to understand it fully right now, but just understand that the waves closest to the objective need to be pushed out before you really do it. Especially mid lane, but we do still have a tier 1 tower in mid, so it's okay. That's going to clear the wave. So here, so yeah, this was a big problem. Yeah, this kind of just another positioning thing. Because right here, where we see the mouths queue down, and we still walk into it, you know? We just...
Yeah. I didn't actually see it. I just was focused on what I was doing, I
Okay.
guess.
So that's something then. So that's another thing to work on. Just making sure that you don't tunnel vision. Because right here, if you would have literally just skipped it around like this and then ulted, like, you would have chunked them so hard. Maybe even killed. Because you are very strong because you've got one item. So that was kind of sad, but... So here we are a little bit support MF, to be fair, but...
Yeah.
We still do damage, but, you know, it's just because at the moment you're kind of inactive in lane. It's kind of like right now you're playing a lane bully, but not actually bullying the lane. So then it gets to this point of the game where, you haven't necessarily done bad. I mean, your score actually looks pretty good. Like, you've got a big, you've had quite an influence in 5 kills, should we say. And no, that's a third of your entire team's kills. So on the grand scheme of things, you haven't really done too bad, but it's a case of what you could have done in order to be the carry, you know. Okay, so here we got greedy with our flash. So we walked forward a little bit too far again, you see. So right here, just instantly flash. Because we know that if we get damaged more, we're going to get ulted by Ugo.
I thought it would be, I thought it was
Yeah.
going to be wasting it, so.
No. So it's better to waste your flash and have not needed it than to not use it, greed with it, and have needed it, because now the ADC is dead, the jungle is dead, so now they're just going to go to Baron, right?
Yeah.
So it's like if we would have flashed out of that, maybe we could have stopped them on said Baron, but I mean, they decided to surrender anyway. I don't know why, but... So again, yeah, mid pressure, always important. Always just walk up into mid, get pressure there. Okay, and then they ended up surrendering. So, like I said, there's a lot to break down, but I think again we'll stick to the more basic, the easy things to sort. So, for example, your camera control, and making sure you're practicing those cues on minions. Maybe go into practice tool and practice it a bit before you do it, and just kind of see how it works. And then yeah, it literally just turns into a case of you last hit the minion with your Q, and then you throw an auto attack at the enemy champion. So you end up getting a guaranteed crit on the Q, and then you end up getting your passive on them as well. So you end up just doing massive damage with only 2 hits, especially when you get that serrated dirk. It's super, super strong. Like it's actually unreal. You'll actually be surprised when you see how much damage you've been missing. So I will end the recording in a moment, put it on YouTube. But is there any kind of questions or anything that you've got about anything we covered before we finish, or?
Not that I can think of. I just need to work on that camera control. It seems like is a big part of it too.
Yeah, camera control's huge. Leveling up using that method I said with the side of your hand, and also just those cues on the minions. I'd say just focus on those things primarily. Obviously, if you finish those and you want to have a look at anything else we covered, I'll send you the link to the video later as well. But yeah, so I think just focus on those things for now, see how that goes. And yeah, if you need anything, just give me a message. Right, so no worries at all. So yeah, hope you have a good day anyway, and I'll speak to you again soon.